We are back on the Rational Boomer podcast. Hopefully, your day is going well. You're listening to this on Wednesday. We're recording it on Tuesday. We've got a guest that we haven't had on for a while, but we always look forward to this guest, Khristi. She's from Oregon, from the Northwest. Khristi, welcome. Thanks for reaching out and finally coming back. We've been waiting, and finally you show up.
Thank you. Thank you. I jumped on one of your lives when I returned from Costa Rica. I sent an email, Mike, you're just super duper busy. So I think one of my emails got kind of lost in the shuffle, but here I am, and that's all that matters, right?
It's either that I'm really busy or really lazy. Um, I was on Trucker T's live earlier, and he says, I worked really hard to get Mike on this live. He's got a lot to do. I go, I got nothing to do. You just asked me to come on. I fucking came on. Don't make this a bigger deal than it is. It's not, just ask me and I'll do it. So yeah, I get lazy with my problem is I joined email list of a lot of news people, the Heathers and our Aaron Parnases. So I get these tons and tons of emails
Oh,
that I subscribe to that I never read. So I got to get
right.
rid of those so that I can make sure I don't miss emails like that. But now you don't have to email me. You have my text, and you'll
I
be able to get through
do.
me every time. Every time.
Be careful.
I'm good. I'm good. Um, so Khristi lives out in the Northwest. You are, for all intents and purposes, similar to Old Soul in that you're an activist too. I mean, you're
For sure.
getting in the mud and actively doing some things. So why don't you tell us some of the stuff you're doing out there in the northwest part of the country?
Thank you. Um, I think when I started your show, I was helping manage a nonprofit, Milk Crate Kitchen, which focuses on the food insecure and breaking the barriers, no cost, no questions. So I indirectly still support them. Oregon itself has a really great recycling program. And yes, we do pay taxes for aluminum and bottles, but in return, either people can gain passive income individually as a business or through a nonprofit. So I help Milk Crate Kitchen as well as a nonprofit Portland Radio Project Music um, with these blue bags, and each bag is like $5 to $7. So I bring them to different restaurants. I manage it through my own apartment complex, and then personally. Another thing that I do, and the more I tell people about it, the more interested they are, is because as gifts or whatever, we start acquiring bags and totes and backpacks. So I'll save up, 3 to 5 backpacks, go to the dollar store and start buying provisions, hygiene products. They even have dollar store towels or blankets, snacks, non-perishable snacks, stuff like that. And then I'll bring them to either PDX Mission or Do Good Multnomah. And those types of nonprofit organizations have shelters, but also help people transition into permanent housing. I accidentally adopted a family. I couldn't help it, but one of my clients was getting rid of their guinea pig. And I found this beautiful home, but I did recognize that the lady was a bit less fortunate. So I assist her and her baby with clothes and kitchen items and
Wow.
animal food and stuff like that. Um, I am also I posted something on TikTok and it was immediately taken down, which it's fine. And I get it. My wording was wrong, but I'm working on petitions for nonpartisan. This is a nonpartisan deal where people stop paying their federal taxes. And when I first started this project, I had a line item list of about 15, and now it's up to 50. Easy. And every single day, there's a reason why we collectively should not pay federal taxes, like pay your state taxes, your income taxes. We're taxed on gas and aluminum and weed and parking. We're taxed on everything anyway. Um, but the way this current administration is going, and we have no idea where the money from FEMA or, the veterans or FCC, SCC, we don't know where that money's going. So in my mind, there is no reason why we should pay into something where we're not receiving back or somebody else can receive services from.
I want to separate growing up, um, I've seen a lot of people come through on various talk shows, and they're all goofy fucks. And they'll say, well, it says in the Constitution you don't have to pay taxes, so I'm not paying taxes. And every time those motherfuckers ended up in jail. So,
Right.
to a large degree, I think what you're talking about is what we're really paying for and what we're really getting. Let me ask you this. We know that some of the blue states are talking amongst themselves about withholding the federal taxes
Right.
coming from the states. Is that in line with what you're talking about too, or you're talking about something totally different?
That's exactly in line of what I'm talking about. So our governors, Washington, Oregon, California, are all step in step with that type of theory, really, because the blue states really carry the red states.
Right.
And ultimately, I'm the person that says, raise my taxes for the teachers, raise my taxes so children are fed. And now we're in this horrible situation where the administration just continues dismantling everything, right? So Oregon is the first of the 50 states to approve universal health care. I believe in paying into that. So every Oregon resident is going to have medical, dental, and vision covered. And that's how it really should be. And that is because we're consolidating the money that we're receiving from pot taxes and stuff like that, and actually putting it towards the people. I
Right.
mean, that's what
Exactly.
we pay into.
Well, don't you
So,
think? Don't
yeah,
you think with what's all that's going on right now with the Democrats and the Republicans and Donald Trump essentially destroying democracy and all this, don't you kind of sense that we're going to see some significant changes in our government and the way it operates, just because it's so broken now? I mean, as we get younger people in, and as we are trying to fix what's going on now, do you see any changes in the government, just the way we do it? Like universal health, that should be the first and foremost thing that we should have. No reason
for
in the world we don't have it.
everybody. Right.
Everybody, every other country has it. We send Israel hundreds of billions of dollars. They have it, so we're paying for their health care and their schooling. It makes no sense to not have it here. I just have a feeling when people are going to get hit so hard with healthcare, when we finally come out the other side and there are reasonable people running this country, there's going to be a huge push for universal health care.
I think it's been a huge push for a really long time, and for some reason, it's just perpetually ignored. And I'm not saying ACA is the end all be all, but it was in
No,
the step in the right direction. And I would say for me, I am on Oregon Health. I'm a small business, I'm an individual, I'm a small business owner. And and um like my medical is covered, my prescriptions are covered, my breast exams are covered, my preventative care is covered. So we're already going that direction here. The one thing that I fear is if we don't get rid of the old establishment Dems, we're not going to get there. We need to go Mamdani style for a minute. We need to veer so far this way just to balance out and get us back
I agree.
into a, kind of people keep saying they want a centrist. Centrists to me are still very right. And that is not where we need to be, for my opinion.
You know what I don't like about centrists is centrists to me are those people that can't make a decision either way or so concerned about pleasing everybody that they ride the fence. I mean, I've said that we're not about Democrats and Republicans anymore. We're about right versus wrong.
Right.
Pick right or you pick wrong. And it's black and
Correct.
white like that. And Donald Trump has helped to make it that black and white. Do we give people health care? Do we feed kids or do we not? That's the difference between right and wrong, as far as I'm concerned. And that's what I'm hoping that we see. You know, you grow up, I don't know, do you have snow in Portland, Oregon?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
We have
We have
the seasons, yeah.
we have a lot of snow here too, and I've always likened um, as far right as we are now and having to go left. If you're driving down the road in a winter town and you've got icy roads and you start sliding to the right, going into the ditch, what do? You crank it all the way left. And then
Opposite
you may have to
direction.
crank it a little bit right again to get out of the left ditch. But that's what it is. We need a correction in this country because we're so far one way. And it doesn't matter which way. If we're way off to one side, whether it be far left or far right, we've got to correct it a little bit. And we're so far right now, we've got to go left and we've got to start. I mean, over and above what this country should be, we got to fix a lot of problems that were created by Donald Trump. And that's going to take some very left leaning ideas.
100%. And after Harris lost, um, I switched my voting from Dem to independent.
Hmm.
And it's not to be the centrist or I don't know what I want, what I believe, what myself and you and like what we should have as a whole. It's because we need fresh blood. We need new blood. We need different ideology. Just as technology grows and we're in the AI world, we change and we evolve. And this old style of thinking, this old style of trying to come to the table and shake hands and come to an agreement is just no longer. It is not happening.
When you keep doing that and try to take the high road and try to excuse me, reach across the aisle and they constantly kick you in the teeth, there's got to be a point where you learn the lesson and you have to be ready to fight. And when I was talking on the slide before, he said, well, we should come together and figure this out. I go, no, this isn't about politics anymore. We're in a literal war. So you better be able to fight or go stand on the sidelines because you're no use to us if you're not ready to fight. You have to be tough. You have to be strong. You have to be insistent. Like with this budget thing coming up, we can't do what Chuck Schumer did and give in because we're afraid the country's going to close down. Fuck it. Not our problem. It's their problem. And the country's already fucked. So what's the difference?
Well, the thing is, whether we sit at the table and try to negotiate or not, their rhetoric is always it's the Dems' fault. Let it shut the fuck down. This is all under Trump and the MAGA regime's umbrella. MAGA Mike Moses Johnson, his weak little mouse ass taking a month off to hide from Epstein decision. But just all of it, there is no point at this point to try to negotiate with anyone on that side. They perpetually prove that they are not to be trusted.
Well, exactly. And Mike Johnson said something recently, and I hope to God they've fucking learned a lesson. They said, well, let's just get this done and we'll talk about the health care and this and that and the other thing down the road. It reminds me of Lucy pulling the football away from Charlie Brown when he's trying to kick it. How many times do they got to pull the football away from you, distract you,
Right.
and say, "Okay, we'll do it in good faith," and it never happens. They do it to us constantly. So learn a fucking lesson and be tough.
Well, I'm pretty sure either they or their team has to see people like you and me saying, stand up and fucking fight.
Yeah.
Like, enough is enough. The lack of accountability, years and years, espionage, just so much shit. But here we are still today, right? And one thing I love about Oregon, of course, there's things in every state where you're like, I don't agree with, what you're doing with my money. But one of my clients, he's a global investor, international commodities, and last week he was at, like a networking gig. And Tobias Reed was there. So Tobias Reed used to be Oregon Treasury, but now he's our state secretary. And my client was talking to him and he was like, hold on, I have a call. Hold on. We're being sued by Trump.
Oh, yeah, I know.
So
You
John
mentioned that.
got it.
I'm curious.
Tobias Reed didn't even hear about it until it broke on our local news. And Trump is suing us and the state of Maine at the same time. And he's doing it intermittently between states. But basically, it's because we are refusing to give up voter information.
Right.
We are not giving up anybody's personal information. Hold on, I wrote it down. I had to write it down. Um, hold on really fast.
No rush.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So the DOJ said that we are violating the National Voter Registration Act, as well as the Help America Vote Act, as well as the Civil Rights Act of 1960. But the DOJ never included copies of the complaints nor where the lawsuits had been filed.
Yeah.
So it's just another threat and it's
It's a
bogus,
bullying
and we're
tactic.
basically saying fuck off. We're saying fuck you.
Well, and why wouldn't any state? Because we know that elections aren't federally run. Elections are run by individual states under the rules they lay out. So for Donald
Right.
Trump to come in and say, you must do this because I say so, not a thing because he doesn't have that authority.
Well, when the second that he communicated or broadcasted that Portland, Oregon is just trash fire BLM bullshit. I don't know if you saw the trend on TikTok where everyone was posting how beautiful it is and chill it is in the streets. My windows are open. I'm just northeast Portland, up from downtown. It is so chill. It's safe. There are areas, of course, but that's everywhere. And another thing we're doing is I did vote in our mayor. His name is Keith Wilson. And we were working in conjunction with San Francisco, and we are now opening areas called Oasis. So they're blocked off areas and it's government funded, so our taxpayers are going towards, or our tax money is going towards it. But it provides showers, charging stations, a resting area. So every single person that complains and bitches about houseless, um, our neighbors, we are providing resources to get them back into society,
Right.
right? There's staff security, like it's all a good thing. So yeah, I think we're doing some really good things here.
Well, I think you and I have something in common. He always talked shit about Portland back from the George Floyd days. And if you were to hear him talk about Minneapolis, we were burnt to the ground and nothing but rubble. Well, I live in
Right.
Minneapolis, a suburb of Minneapolis. That's not at all true.
It's
That's
not
not at all
true.
true. It's perfectly safe. Um, but this is how they carry the narrative. They've got to scare people, and they've got to create an adversarialness between two groups of people. That's why this Charlie Kirk thing was so weird. The first thing they said as soon as Charlie Kirk was killed, that it has to be a Democrat because Donald Trump needs that that conflict between somebody. That's how he wins. Um, the other weird thing about that Charlie Kirk thing is prior to that, there was a leak from the White House and this Epstein stuff is going on. And he said, I just need one big thing. I need one big thing, meaning something to distract. Now, I'm not suggesting that Donald Trump was behind the Charlie Kirk shooting, but I'm not saying he's not. I'm just saying he got his wish. And then when he got his wish, he made them or tried to make the most of it, which he fell on his face because it was absolutely bullshit. And they didn't know what to do when they found out it wasn't a liberal.
When that whole situation happened, my initial instinct, because I do have empathy and compassion, was sad. And then pretty close to immediately remembered how vile Charlie Kirk was. Um, And then you just start seeing the uproar of the libtards and the Dems, and it has to be because the bullet case said this. I mean, these people are simple terms, lack critical thinking. And he knows how to rile his base. And he comes out, I mean, even at Charlie Kirk's memorial, he said, I loathe my opponent, right?
Right.
I hate
Because
you.
he's a tough guy.
He's he's so stupid, but what happens is his base is the same level of stupid that they immediately just react and believe whatever he says.
Exactly.
And I watched the press conference when the prosecutor was talking about the text messages. And it's not even a fear. I already know that Trump's base didn't hear the actual message. This kid said, I'm tired of Charlie Kirk's hate, his hateful rhetoric. You know, who cares if the kid was dating a femboy or who cares? We don't care about that. His message was Charlie Kirk is vile. He spreads hate. He took it upon himself to handle it, allegedly, right? But Marjorie Taylor Greene and Megyn Kelly and nobody else is going to hear that kid's message of I'm trying to stop this evil shit, you know.
Well, one of the things I found out since this happened, if you were to talk to me about Charlie Kirk and Nick Fuentes, I would have said one and the same kind of guy, just trying to grift off the same message. What we find out now, though, is there's a distinct difference between the Charlie Kirk cult and the Nick Fuentes cult. They're more both on the right, but they don't like each other. I mean, Nick Fuentes has even as much as said is somebody ought to do something about this guy. They didn't like each other. I don't know if it was for competing for audience, but Nick Fuentes and his group, the whatever they called them, Groypers or whatever, uh, I get the impression that they didn't feel that Charlie Kirk and his people were right enough, and that these people are so far right in many ways they're left. You know, the idea of having these femboys isn't about transgender; it's about their hatred of women.
Right. I had no idea who groypers were. To me, my
Neither
brain
did I.
immediately says grapers. And when I was listening to your podcast with
Hmm.
Jay, and he was explaining it. And I'm like, these kids are little weak ass losers that hate themselves so much that they want to inflict pain on others. That's what I
I do too. Yeah.
get out of it. I think that they're basement boys, gross, smarmy little fucks. And then in turn turn on their own person because Charlie Kirk wasn't right enough. Are you joking me? He's the turning point, talking point of Stephen Miller.
Well, the difference between Nick Fuentes and Charlie Kirk seems to stem from Israel. Charlie Kirk was scared to death of Netanyahu and Israel because he started to peel back what he was saying about Israel, justifiably so, because they're committing genocide. But he mostly supported Israel, and Nick Fuentes and his group are dead against Israel. And that was one of the things that they disliked about Charlie Kirk in the first place. It's so convoluted and so weird, and it shows how fractured the right is at this point, which tells me more so that they're weak. Now, there's all kinds of people talking about conspiracy theories with Charlie Kirk's death. And my immediate reaction is, yeah, that's bullshit. I
Epstein.
keep hearing, yeah, well, I keep hearing all these conspiracy theories, but then shit comes up, and you go, you got to consider it. I mean, look, like for example, Kirk gets shot. Guy stands up in the crowd and says, "I did it. Shoot me, I did it." Distraction, right? Okay, they
Right,
go after him. Then they get another guy who we don't even know who he was. They say, "We got him," and it wasn't him. And then we see the guy running across the roof of the
right,
place. Okay. The thing about it is he's running across the roof. He has no gun. The only thing left on the roof was a screwdriver. So the thought is he must have broke down the gun, put it in his knapsack, jumped off, ran out, but they found the gun fully assembled. So this guy's running for his life. He stops someplace kind of in the open by some barn or something. He reassembles the rifle, lays it down with all the information. That doesn't make any sense. So if the first guy was a distraction and the second guy was a distraction, who to say the guy running across the roof wasn't a distraction too? I mean, it's just, you go down this rabbit hole and you don't know what to believe. And if it was anybody else other than Republicans and Donald Trump, you'd say that's crazy. But tell me, what's crazy when it comes to the Republicans at this point?
There is no such thing as unprecedented anymore because of
No,
Donald Trump.
no,
And whatever's happening with this Charlie Kirk situation, it kind of makes me think of when the victims of Epstein were coming out and Marjorie Taylor Greene is trying to be tough girl and ensure that she, you know, maintains or still or creates any resemblance of relevance. But she was, I don't care. You guys know me. I am going to say the names, blah, blah, blah. And then Charlie Kirk gets hit, the old one too, to the neck. The other thing as well is one of the first things that came to my mind is that even though as horrible and atrocious of that video being sent and you can watch the whole
right,
thing.
right.
Did you see the crowd in the audience scream and run and completely disperse and they're frantic? But they didn't do that during Trump's ear
No.
sniper.
You know what else strikes me strange? If you look at the setup and how it all went down during the event in Butler, the assassination
Yeah.
attempt, it's identical to what happened with Charlie Kirk. Some kid
Mhm.
with mental problems up on the top of a roof someplace. And here's the other thing: we know you released the stuff about RFK, MLK, and JFK. We know nothing about that assassination attempt. Zero. No
Right.
investigation that we know of has gone on. It's just all so weird. But have you heard the latest conspiracy bullshit? And this isn't conspiracy because it's true, because it's been verified. When he died and Erica, his wife, his widow, spoke, I'm looking at her, and she's an attractive woman. She's educated. She's 5 years older than Charlie, and she's a good speaker. And I'm looking at her, and she's talking. I'm going, there's something off here. Something off
Oh
with
yeah.
her. I mean, they can't expect her to take over Turning Point USA because to them, women are second class citizens. So that can't work. But so now she's there. She's now the CEO of Turning Point USA, and she's speaking out. But and of course, they look into her background. Who is she? Nobody knows who the fuck she is. So they look into it. Um, when she was 17 years old, she went into one pageant that she won, I think. And it was
Yeah.
a
Miss
Donald,
Arizona.
right. And it was a Donald Trump pageant, apparently. And apparently she's had a connection to Donald Trump for a while because she's now 35, 36 years old. After she won that pageant, she started a ministry. 17, 18 years old. She started a ministry. She started a ministry and she went over to Romania and she was to work with kids in Romania. But Romania kicked her out because while she was there was an inordinate amount of missing children in that area. Now, I'm not saying she did anything, but that's concerning. That's a weird turn of events that she's supposed to be working with kids. She goes over there. She's tied to Donald Trump. These Romanian kids, a lot of them go missing, so much so that Romania says, get the fuck out of here. They thought she was guilty of something, so they kicked her out. That's what I'm saying. There's so many fucking weird things. And that actually happened. That's not a story or somebody. I looked, I checked it, I validated it. That's exactly what happened with her. She was kicked out of Romania because kids were going missing. They didn't say she did it, but they thought They were suspicious of her. When you piece all that shit together, you go, holy fuck, what could actually be going on?
This is a big deal. I have no idea about that information. I just don't. But what
You'd
I
never
did
heard about this.
notice,
You'd never heard about this with Erica. I just heard about it a
no,
couple days
no.
ago.
Well, the thing is, I actually never even thought about her twice until
No,
Charlie, I didn't know who the fuck she is. Or I don't know. And then the whole memorial, which talk about a packed stadium, I'm sure Trump was pissed off about it. But I was watching her and I'm like, man, totally Miss Arizona pageant style theatrics. Her fake tears. Were they fake? It was just she did a really good job.
yeah,
And she also said that she completely forgives the shooter and all of
of
these
course she
things. And
does.
I'm like, she's really, really chill about just losing her husband and the father of her children. Like, what is this?
I saw a picture of her in her pageant. She was in a bikini. Very hot young girl, very attractive young girl. Okay.
Yeah,
Charlie Kirk, you say you hadn't thought twice about her. Prior to Charlie Kirk getting shot, I hadn't thought twice about him. I kind of knew who he was, but I didn't care. It didn't matter. When he died, I didn't care. It didn't matter.
right.
This guy, Charlie Kirk, didn't get steam. He didn't get popular until he got a billionaire to give him money. They said, "Oh, here's a young guy. He's a good, articulate guy. We're going to give him a bunch of money so he can build an audience and influence young people." Now, if a billionaire gives him a bunch of money, tens, maybe hundreds of millions of dollars to do what he's doing, is it crazy to think, this guy? I mean, if you saw a picture of this guy before he was, you know, important and doing all this stuff, he was just this kind of goofy looking
He's
basement
gross.
boy, like you said.
Yeah, he's gross for sure. Turning
So
Point is a
So you'd want to get
nonprofit.
them, you'd want to get them a bunch of money and make it look good by getting them a cute girlfriend and a cute wife and have a couple kids. It sounds all crazy, but I know how people think. And if they're trying to set this guy up to be something down the road, you're going to do whatever it takes.
And they do have a lot of money over there on that side. They've got they have NRA, they have the Heritage Foundation. I didn't realize that Turning Point was a nonprofit, which makes them tax exempt. And I'm like, how the fuck are they a nonprofit? And what are they providing? And it's not community services. That whole focus of Turning Point was for high schoolers and young college kids to turn them into, alt-right conservative thinking. Hence why he's in Utah. That's why he stayed most of his stuff. I mean, Kyle Rittenhouse is probably fucking stoked that he only got ran off the college stage at this
Right,
point. You know what I
right,
mean?
right.
And and I was listening to one of I've had it, those two ladies that are in Oklahoma. They're pretty freaking funny. It's a younger kid. Dean, it's Dean something. He's a
Dean Withers.
debater. Dean Withers, yeah, he's super smart,
Yep.
like he super cool. He wanted to debate Charlie Kirk multiple times and was denied multiple times
Yeah, he was
because,
fine to debate college kids that don't know anything. That's easy to debate them. He didn't want to debate somebody who could actually put up a battle.
well, Charlie Kirk doesn't want to debate. He wants to shut you up. Right?
Right,
He
right.
wants to do what MAGA does, is talk really loud, really fast, throw it in your face. Like there's no conversation or debate whatsoever with these types of people. So, another thing, I did see a clip of this and I was like, this is interesting, definitely conspiracy. So I looked it up, but Sean Curran, he is the Secret Service dude with the sunglasses
Mhm.
for Trump's first ear sniper with the fight, fight, fight. He
Right.
was also at Charlie Kirk's shooting.
Wow. Great track
And
record.
standing right behind him, and everywhere I looked, it was like, no, Sean Curran was, he was active and being protective. But what I actually saw, just snippets, he didn't move. Like he literally just stood there until the, actual action occurred.
Well, if I'm a Secret Service agent and I got a review coming up, and they say, well, you were there when Trump got an attempted assassination and you were there when Charlie Kirk was killed. I don't know if you do your job well, but clearly you're fucking bad luck. You baby better check out another fucking business.
Well, what I found out is if you got like a degree in like arts of human resources, and he worked under the Obama administration. And so I was trying to figure out if he's registered Democrat, Republican. I was trying to sleuth his ass, but there's just nothing on him. But
You know,
he's been at both of them.
somebody else said something to me I'd never thought about, but it makes so much sense. I think we both can agree. If Donald Trump keels over, choking on a Big Mac and shits out instead of bleeding out, he'll just shit out. If that
He
happens and
just
he,
shits out.
yeah, if he dies, I think we can agree there really is nobody that could take over the cult. I mean, it's impossible for somebody to take over a cult anyway, but you need somebody of equal abilities and talents to take over the cult. And and we know that JD is going to not do well if he ends up taking over the cult from Donald Trump. But think about this. If there's one person that could ultimately down the road take over the cult with the right personality and the right kind of presence and the right kind of charisma, it would have been Charlie Kirk. It wouldn't have been in 2028 because he's too young, but in 2020, 2032, and just rousting people up. I think that's why the Republicans were so upset because they looked at him as the future of MAGA.
Well, that's why people are buying the fucking merch already, saying live
Yeah.
like Charlie bullshit. One person that comes to mind and it creeps me out because I can't stand this motherfucker is Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
Now, he has been to Russia. He's been part of the propaganda. Sometimes he'll play the let's not be genocide. Like he's kind of playing both fields sometimes, but still very, very mega driven. He's loaded. Um, he already has press, right?
Yeah.
He already has that type of following, especially the Fox following. So he crosses my mind of maybe even attempting. He's schmarmy, right? He's so schmarmy.
Well,
He's
you mean
schmarmy enough.
running for president or being vice president? Yeah, I think that's definitely in people's thoughts. Definitely.
Yeah.
He's that kind of guy. He's all about publicity. He's all about getting attention. He can talk fairly well. Um, he is wealthy. His stepmom was the heir to Swanson's TV dinners back in the day. So,
That
yeah,
was
he's
my day. Those were the yellow trucks that used to do dinner
no,
deliveries.
not
Oh,
Schwann's, Swanson. Swanson
oh,
TV dinners. You buy them. This is before
oh.
you go into the store. You buy a frozen TV dinner. You sit down and you eat. It was something they invented. And Swanson
Salisbury
does a lot of other
steak.
stuff. Chicken, yeah, Salisbury steak or something like that. Yeah, you're probably right. I think the Republicans are going to be hard pressed to get a good candidate because what Donald Trump is going to do between now and 2028, if he survives that long, is just absolutely destroy any hope for the Republican Party because everything is just falling to shit. I mean, the economy, uh, publicity is horrible. Even Republicans are standing up going, wait, what the fuck? He's destroying the Republican Party and may destroy the entire system. That's why I wonder if we aren't in for some significant changes down the road. He's I always say he's kind of like the 70s rock band who goes into a hotel room and tears the fucker apart for no reason and just
Right.
leaves. That's
right.
pretty much what he's going to do.
He's worse than a Tasmanian devil because he likes what he's doing. He looks in the mirror and says, "You know what? I'm fucking awesome." And that, but he's always been that way. So everything that he's doing, we already foresaw. I mean, they already told us this was the direction that they were going to go. It's just, I would say for me personally, it's more expedient than I thought it was. And at the same time, I think it's better it's this expedient that it's happening because he cannot blame as much as he still spits out Biden and KKK Caroline, White House press
Right.
dingbat. It's just Biden, Biden, Biden. It's all they can try to say to keep the less educated or less informed pissed off at us for whatever reason. I don't think there's anyone that can replace him. People have talked about his sons, and I'm like, they're drug addicts.
Well,
There's no way
I
that his
think
sons would be
I've said
taking
before,
over.
once Donald Trump is done, dead, out, whatever, there's going to be a lot coming out on Donald Trump, and Donald Trump will be a little more than a pariah going off into history. And the only thing the Trump family can worry about doing is having his grandkids change their last name because it will be embarrassment to be a Trump. Eric and Don Jr. and Ivanka, they're stuck with it. But those grandkids, they're going to want to change their last name because
Where the
it will
fuck is
not play
Ivanka?
well.
Where is
Who the fuck?
Ivanka? Sitting with her 2 billion with Jared Kushner, who his dad was pardoned by Trump, with
Right.
her, you know, partnerships and patents with China and trying to be a mom. It's like you were part of those parties, young lady. You have a lot to say. Why are they not subpoenaing her? That
Well, they're not.
really bothers me that she's not at all a
Well, they're not.
consideration of part of all of this.
Yeah, I think maybe she will be down the road, but it'll have to be after the Republicans are out of power. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff like we have the big scandal going on right now. I don't know if you've heard this one. You know who Tom Horman is, right? He's a he's the border czar.
Sorry,
Uh,
yeah,
Yeah, he looks like fucking Fred Flintstone and talks like a fourth grader. He's just a fucking idiot. He's just stupid. Well, the story is that prior to Donald Trump becoming president, Tom Horman was telling people, Trump's going to be president. I'm going to be working right with him like I was the first term, and scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. And so there is actual video of an FBI undercover agent handing him a bag of $50,000 for influence. Now, so he is guilty of taking a bribe. It was in the DOJ. Donald Trump gets elected. Tom Horman gets appointed border czar, and that whole thing goes away. Well, it's blown
right.
up now. Everybody knows about it. It's out in the open, and there's pressure on the DOJ. Still, as it stands now, will not do anything about it. But that doesn't mean when we get a real attorney general and a real president and all that stuff that he isn't going to be hung out to dry. He kept saying, I have done nothing wrong. Dude, you work for the government and you took a bag of $50,000 in cash on video. Don't tell me you didn't do something wrong. Just the optics are horrible.
I just don't understand how people continue to attach themselves to Trump. I mean, if you look at crackhead Lindell, Rudy Giuliani, uh, Tammy whatever in Colorado, Navarro went to jail, all of these people will end up going down. So it blows my mind why people continue to support him, trust him, and think that they're safe. Cash Patel is next on the line. Pam Bondi is in so much shit. I mean, she is intertwined in so many things that we wouldn't have known about if she didn't attach herself to Trump. So
Well,
there,
when you talk about Pam Bondi, you have to talk about Jeffrey Epstein because they had the that Alex guy. What's his fucking last name? Jerry
Acosta,
Alex Acosta. He's the prosecutor who gave Jeffrey Epstein a sweetheart deal. Well, that sweetheart deal wouldn't happen without the assistance of the Attorney General of the state of Florida, who happened to be Pam Bondi. There's a
Right.
lot of shit there to be sorted out.
Did you hear Alex Acosta's, Trump was standing right next to him and he was talking about resigning or whatever, in the press. And instead of talking about the direct subject, he starts talking about how we need to focus on how Donald Trump has made the economy great. Don't focus on me. Don't focus on Epstein's sweetheart deal. This sex trafficker piece of shit motherfucker gets barely any jail time, work release, so much freedom.
Yeah.
But let's focus on how DJT, fuck Donald Trump, let's focus on how he's making the economy great. You know what I mean? And were you able to watch any of the UN meeting today?
Yeah, well, that was the next thing I was going to bring up because it was so, I mean, whenever Donald Trump speaks, you know it's going to be bad, but that was far worse than I could have ever imagined. It was absolutely ridiculous. It was endless lies, all about self promotion, had nothing to do with the UN.
Had nothing to do with the UN. The rest of the leaders were talking about world peace, stopping wars, supporting each other, all of these things. And he goes up and talks about how great he is, how the tariffs are amazing, how he has stopped multiple wars, how um, you guys you guys get plastic when I can bring you mahogany, right?
Yeah.
Like he is just this upper classy guy. I made myself watch it with his baboon fucking ass lips. I almost went through the screen. It was so embarrassing. He complains about the escalator going out, but it's a good thing his wife is in good shape. This is a UN fucking worldwide meeting.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Anti-
watched it and it was so classic Donald Trump. Um, but when he started out, he told lie after lie. The economy's great. Everything's great. I did this. I did that. And none of what he said was true. And everybody in that audience knows it's not true. That's what's so silly about it. Then not only does he talk about how great he is, he spent a lot of time talking, I did this, and you didn't help. You didn't do anything.
Your country is shit. Brazil is shit. It was absolutely atrocious. It was beyond embarrassing. And I have some of my international friends reaching out to me via WhatsApp. And I'm like, this is not my president. Like, it is so beyond embarrassing. And everyone's just like, this guy's a fucking, not just an imbecile, he's an asshole. Like, nobody is coming here. Nobody wants to come here. Vacation is down. The connecting states close to Canada have lost millions and millions of dollars from lack of travel. Like it's bad. It's
You
really
know,
bad.
the funny thing is when I hear people say, I watched that UN thing and he's just an absolute idiot. Really? Because people like you and me have been talking about this since 2016. We've said he's an idiot from the get go. And people say, well, let's give him a chance. Well, it makes a little sense. No, everything he says is bullshit. He doesn't think anything out. He doesn't think in the future. He's reactive. He's emotional. He just says whatever comes out of his head, comes in his head, comes out his mouth. And because it came out his mouth, it might as well be direct from God in his idea because he can't be wrong. And that's what he did with this whole thing. He just, as you said, you were talking about the mahogany thing. What Christie was talking about was toward the end when he had talked about so much shit that had no bearing on anything. He had to recount a time 25 years ago where his company bid on the renovation of the UN building. And he said it was like $500 million, and we were going to do all these wonderful things, put marble floors in and put mahogany on the walls. But you went with somebody else, and they were going to put terrazzo on the floor and plastic on the walls. So this guy was still pissed off about missing a deal 25 years ago, and he felt it important to bring it up at the fucking UN.
When the cameras panned to the audience and the other world leaders, the looks on their faces were either what the fuck, pissed, or laughing. They're like, this guy is a fucking joke.
Yeah,
Like
he is.
he is losing it, which he has been for a really long time. And to go on the world stage like that at a UN, at a United Nations, again, talking about peace, talking about, stopping the wars. Like we need to stop. And, any of my Trump supporting friends or family members, I'm like, how is your no war president doing now? The motherfucker is bombing a boat out of Venezuela with the assumption that there's drugs on it. Like, this is a part of my petition. I'm not paying for it. Everything that he's doing is out of our money. It is, I don't approve. I do not authorize. It's not okay.
You see the last boat, second or last one he blew up. He blew up three of the boats, right? These fishing boats in international waters off of Venezuela. Just to, because everybody kept saying, you have no proof that there were drugs on there. I mean, the first one had 11 people on it. Why would you have 11 people on a boat where you need as much room as you could to move as many drugs as possible? That makes no sense. But on one of the last ones, they said, we recovered a whole bunch of drugs. Really?
Yeah,
How the
which
fuck?
ones?
How the fuck do you recover drugs when you basically vaporize a boat? Are you telling me the
Right.
drug packaging's stronger than the boat? That didn't get obliterated too? It's just all bullshit.
It's such bullshit. And, they're talking about the immigrants and the cartel. And I'm like, I don't think they're focusing on Florida because right now in Florida, the cartel is mixing fentanyl with another tranquilizer called xylazine. Starts with an X, xylazine. And when people shoot it, it creates MRSA. It creates flesh eating bacteria where people are going into the clinics and their skin
Wow.
is fucking falling off. It's
That's,
it's insane. So which border are you protecting?
yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. I have to mention this because I think I know what this means. This came from The Hill, and we're recording it a Monday night, a Tuesday night. Um,
Tuesday.
it says that now, with regards to the Epstein thing and getting that release, they need 218 votes, right? In the House.
Right,
And
right,
they have 216 votes
right.
until a recent special election where a Democrat won, and he said, "Yeah, I'm signing on that too." So they have 217 votes. There was another special election today. Democrat Adelita Grijalva wins special election to fill her father's House seat in Arizona. Now, I don't know if this is a state seat. Now, this is a House seat. Nonetheless, uh, that should give us 218 votes in the House, which should allow them to do the go around Mike Johnson and vote for it. I still don't know that it would get through the Senate, but this is going to freak Donald Trump out when this margin in the House gets slimmer and slimmer every day, even before the midterms.
Well, one of the Oregon representatives, his name is Ron Wyden. He has been on the Epstein case for a really long time, but his direction was more following the money trail of
Yeah, right.
who, yeah, Ron Wyden. Yeah, he's older. He's definitely, he's been in his position for quite a while, but he's good and and his name is just now going out there. One, because the Epstein, and then two, because Oregon is a sanctuary state. We still have got a lot of MAGA and racists. I mean, they're everywhere. But he got a law passed here where cops and ICE agents can't just randomly at any point in time scan anybody's license plates to see what, who they are or whatever. So he's doing good things. It's interesting that his mission was kind of put to the curb, but I guess Epstein was already dead and Ghislaine Maxwell was already in, Max Penitentiary until recently that, now his case is coming to light again. But I think I don't know. I
Well, the
There is so
interesting thing
much
that
going on, but it's so hard.
well, the interesting thing that Ron Wyden came up with this is he a senator or a rep?
He's a representative.
Okay. Well, he did a
Yeah,
study on, like you say, he did a study on the financial aspects of Jeffrey Epstein. And what tells you that it's more than old men touching young girls? I mean, that's bad enough as it is. But what he found in his study of the financial aspects of this was that between four banks, there was $1.5
billion.
billion
Right.
dollars. There's more going on here than just these parties where they abuse young girls. There's more
Sorry, he's a
going on.
senator. He's a senator. Sorry about that.
Okay. No problem. But that financial research, that investigation is hugely important. It may not play a factor while Pam Bondi's in office, but after this is all said and done, like I said, a lot of stuff is going to come out when Donald Trump is in a position to hold it back and the Republicans no longer have power. Now that this has come up and there's been so much demand for it, it's going to come out eventually. It may not be till Donald Trump is gone, but it will come out. And it's going to have an impact not only on Donald Trump, but a ton of other wealthy, positioned, powerful white men. Uh, and it's going to be a fucking blockbuster. It's going to come out eventually. People want it too bad. And when the resistance is gone, it's going to be a fucking mess. And when you got $1.5 billion tied into it, there's a lot of shit we don't know.
Absolutely. And when you say that, it makes my brain loop back around to what you're talking about with Erica Kirk and the Romanian children and stuff. I'm like, all of this is way bigger than we ever knew.
If this was 2015 and we were talking like this, people would say, oh, you're fucking crazy conspiracy theorist. And even still, it could be a crazy conspiracy theorist. But based on what's going on and who's in positions of power, you got to think, who fucking knows? I mean,
Right.
we've seen some
Well, in
crazy shit we never expected.
the courts they dismissed Trump's case to put a botch on what did they throw out? There's so many cases and appeals. They threw out the case where Trump was trying to put a botch on the Epstein estate files and the birthday note and stuff like that.
Right,
They're like,
right.
no, dude, this is legit. This came from the estate.
Well, Donald Trump is doing a lot of things to cover up. Letitia James sued him for $500 million. He lost. One court said, "Yeah, that's too much." They didn't let him go off the case. They're just saying it's too excessive. But then Donald Trump sends the an investigation, insists on an investigation in Letitia James to the Southern District of New York. The prosecutor goes in and comes back and says, I got nothing. There's nothing to
Yeah,
go
from
after about.
Virginia.
Right. Virginia, I'm sorry. And Donald Trump fires him. Go
Yep.
find something on them, find some dirt. And, it's always the same with him. For whatever reason, he's got this hard on for mortgage fraud,
It's
which,
because he did it.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. He's done it many times. I mean, that's what he did with Mar-a-Lago. That's why,
Right.
yeah, every time the people used to say that every accusation is a confession, and damned if it doesn't seem like that. I mean, everything he suggests that somebody else has done, he's already fucking done. So in that UN speech, that was a fucking mess. He embarrassed himself. He embarrassed the country. He embarrassed his administration. Whether he wants to believe it or not, the facts are the facts. There were people. I saw some articles where there were diplomats texting uh, reporters that were there. Like one guy said, "This guy's stark raving mad." Another guy said, "This guy's an embarrassment. What's with the people of America? Don't they recognize he's an embarrassment?" Yes, we do recognize he's an embarrassment. Unfortunately, because we got a lot of people that haven't been willing to do anything about it, we're stuck with it for now. But it does seem like people are waking up. But here's the weird thing: right after that UN speech, he did a press conference with Zelensky. Now, remember when he first met Zelensky, he basically ambushed him and kicked him out of the White House, talked shit about him.
I was livid.
And basically, what his way of dealing with this is just do whatever Vladimir Putin wants to do and we'll stop the war. Well, Zelensky's not going to do that. He's a better man than that. But in this press conference, he flipped it right around. He was talking about getting stuff to Zelensky in Ukraine to win the war. They can win the war. They don't have to give up any. I mean, how do you keep track of this fucker? He flips flops all the time. One minute he's with Vladimir Putin, but then Vladimir Putin lies to him, and every time he does something, Vladimir Putin goes in and bombs somebody just to embarrass him. So now Donald Trump's mad at Vladimir Putin, so he's now going to side with Zelensky and go after. He's like a fucking child.
Yeah, they're like preteens, really. And Putin perpetually throws shit in Trump's face. I mean, when Putin met with the other dictators, Trump was the biggest cheerleader. He was so happy for those guys to play together. I think after the UN, and I didn't see anything. I did read just a little bit on the AP that Trump changed his tune and saying Zelensky will get his, all of his land back and all of that stuff. The thing is, Trump, Trump is not to be trusted. Anything he says, I don't trust. I don't care if it sounds like it's something that I want. I do not believe he's going to do it. He's a liar. He's a con man. He's corrupt. He's a schmoozer. He's a bitch. So I think he'll just say whatever he can to get him, to the next day. Really,
Well,
I
that's
don't believe that he supports Ukraine.
no. Well, I mean, Donald Trump likes to take credit for things where he thinks something's going to win. I'll give you an example. Israel bombs Iran. Okay. And he knows Israel probably can handle Iran. So he goes in there and sends some bombers in so he hopefully can end it and be the hero. See, I won in Iran. And it's the same thing with this. He's going to Vladimir Putin, and Vladimir Putin won't listen to shit. And then people finally get him to realize, because he thought Putin and Russia were just going to roll over Ukraine. That's what we all thought. But Donald Trump didn't catch up with that later. And then he realized, oh, maybe Ukraine can win this thing. I could beat my hero. So maybe he wants to jump on that bandwagon. But the problem with him is, and why, he keeps coming back and saying, well, I got this tariff deal, I got this tariff deal, and there are no deals because
Right,
nobody can trust him to stick to the deal. He will change
right.
his mind, he'll get mad, and then he'll put a tariff on you anyway. There's no point in negotiating with this guy. He can't be
How
trusted
many
at all.
how many times has he threatened to sanction or tariff Russia? He hasn't done any of it.
No.
He just likes
But
to talk big. He's pure entertainment and he likes to play big boy.
he was asked something else too that I found interesting. Remember when Putin sent the drones into Poland and then Romania, and then planes into Estonia? Donald Trump
Estonia,
had
yeah.
said, well, it was just a mistake, shit happens and all that stuff. He was asked today if Putin sends drones into Poland or some other country, do they have the right to shoot him down? He goes, yeah, absolutely, shoot him down. You don't know what this fucker's thinking.
Well, he
But
doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't
but
have worldwide political experience.
you know what I like about
He's
this though?
what?
He's mad at Putin. We know Putin's got some shit on him. If he keeps poking Putin, we're going to get a tranche of bad information about Donald Trump from Putin. Putin's going to get pissed off and he's going to do something to Trump. So I'm excited for, it's kind of like Trump and Elon fighting. I would love to see Putin and Trump fight because that will get fucking ugly.
Oh, it'll get ugly really quick. It'll stomp Trump really quick too. The other thing with what Trump is doing with the wars and his back and forth and the tariff game and this bullshit is he's actually having the rest of the Europe, NATO countries gain independence. They're
Mm-hmm.
making deals with Canada, they're making deals with Australia and China, and everyone is making deals around us. In a very short amount of time, he has weakened the US on so many fronts,
Well, and
military wise, economy wise, trade wise. Like he has really fucked us.
well, and that's the thing is once people get a chance to have to figure out how to deal with stuff without America, and they find other options. A good example is when China decided against buying soybeans from the United States.
Yep.
They found it someplace else. So even if Donald Trump fixed it right now, why would they go from where they were back to us? He's fucked it permanently for these farmers. And the same thing with causing these people to go look for help, whether it be security or whether it be products or whatever. They now have no choice but to go look other places. And when they find those other places, there's no reason for them to come back.
There is no reason. They're literally creating handshake deals. They're creating contracts
Yeah,
for future without us,
right.
right? We're the farmers in middle America. Of course I don't want anyone to suffer, but you fucking voted for it. And I really wish I could have sympathy, but I just don't. I just don't.
Well,
I
people
can't.
have gotten mad at me and they say it sounds like you want farmers to suffer if they voted for Donald Trump. And I would have to say I do want them to suffer. It's not
Right,
because I enjoy seeing people suffer, but we've got a problem with Donald Trump. People have to learn some lessons. They voted for him the first time around. They got their asses kicked. They got bailed out. They
right.
knew what happened the first time and they
Bailed out
voted
with
again.
our money.
Right. So now they aren't going to get bailed out this time probably, and they're struggling. And people say you want them to lose everything, and I say apparently that's what it's going to take for you to fucking learn, because you didn't learn the first time. If that's what it's going to take to get you to learn, then yeah, I guess I hope you do fail.
What's interesting is I listen to Sarah Longwell sometimes. She does focus groups. And I can't listen to them very often because she does focus groups with Trump supporters. And I'll tell you what, my insides start burning
Yeah.
right quick. However, the one thing, and this is what helps me, I guess, justify why I do not have sympathy and empathy, because I fucking promise you, they will vote for him again. They will
Exactly.
do it again and again and again.
And that's my point. We've
So,
got to burn them down for them to learn the lesson. Otherwise, we'll deal with this over and over and over and over again. I firmly believe the Republicans and Donald Trump have to burn everything to the ground at this point. I didn't think that prior to the election because I didn't think he'd win. But now that he's won and he's been so proactive in tearing the country down, it's almost to the point where you almost have to let it burn down for some of these dumb fucks to get it.
That's it's not almost, it's really what needs to happen. And it's sad because we have to go down with them. This
Yeah.
reputation that he's creating becomes ours. I mean, people that know us, excuse me, I travel internationally a couple times a year. The people I meet, they know it's not you and me. They know the majority is not this fucking stupid.
Yeah.
But worldwide, what they see, you are who you hang with. And this is why I don't even have Trump supporters anywhere near me. Friends, family, foe. Toxic's gotta go. They're toxic. They're horrible fucking people. They're shit people. It sucks to say that, but it's true.
Well, people talk about who the Democrats should run for president. They talk
Excuse
about Gavin Newsom. They talk
me.
about all these other people. I will say this, given the mess we've been put in the middle of, whoever they elect, Democratic nominee and ultimately the president, better be the greatest fucking diplomat in the history of this country, because there's going to be a lot of fences to be mended, a lot of friends to come together with, a lot of things that are
Rebuild.
broken that need to be fixed. So that person better be a fucking excellent diplomat.
When I was in Costa Rica a few months, well, I got back in May. I did volunteer work on sloth and wild animal sanctuary. It was fantastic. And the people I shared the house with were from Germany, uh, Belgium, the Netherlands, Switzerland, France, all fantastic people. And they all say, yes, my taxes are high, but we are taken care of.
Yeah.
Our education, our health care, like we pay into a system that takes care of us back. That is the direction that we were going. And that would have gone that way with Harris. And for whatever reason, I've thought about it. I've listened to so many I don't need, nobody needs to like rehash what happened. There's conspiracies of, I mean, I truly believe fraud, and maybe that's my conspiracy because I think Trump is just a walking fraudulent
Oh yeah,
fucking
no
piece of
question.
shit. But obviously we're here today and watching how quickly he's dismantled and destroyed so many things. We're going to need someone like Pritzker. I'm totally, I was super pissed off at Gavin Newsom, not because he had Bannon or Kirk on his podcast. It's because he was so chummy with these assholes. That's what
Right.
pissed me off. I don't care who you have on your podcast, but have more of a debate, have more of a I see you and what you say and what you do is bullshit type of thing. Because these guys are definitely or were her talking, Gavin Newsom type thing. I love what Gavin Newsom is doing.
I do
I
too.
love it.
I do
It makes
too.
me so happy that that level of petty is what gets them riled up, right?
And
They're all riled.
it just proves my point. You got to give them the same energy they're giving you in order to deal with a bully. And I told Trucker T when I did this live, I said, you can't take the high road. The high road isn't there to be taken because you'll just get run over again. You've got to fight back. You've got to push back. And we need somebody who's going to be fighting. We're seeing Gavin Newsom doing it now, but we need a lot more people to do it. Maybe younger people, the Chuck Schumers, the Nancy Pelosi's. They just need to go away because they're not worth anything to us anymore. They're playing a game that was in the 90s, and that's not here
Right.
anymore. Basically, that was politics then. This is Hunger Games now. You better be able to play
Hunger
in the fucking
Games.
Hunger Games. Yeah, it really is. We're
I've
fighting
been
for our
saying it
lives.
since the fucking beginning. It's such a classist war. I mean, that was my favoriteest trilogy book. I read this book so goddamn fast. I'll even rewatch the movies. It is so true. You have the 1% up here and everyone else has to fight for everything else, right? That is unacceptable. There's no reason why Musk should be hitting $1 trillion. There's no reason why Bezos should be hitting $1 trillion fucking dollars. If you just taxed them appropriately, we wouldn't be in this situation. We just wouldn't,
Right. And if wealthy people paid the same percentage you and I pay for Social Security, there'd be no problems. No problems at
right?
all with Social Security. But when I say Hunger Games, people say, well, that's kind of hyperbolic. Read
No,
2025. That's the fucking
yeah.
point.
Yeah, it's not hyperbolic. It is the truth. I've been saying it for years because there's so much dark money. And I'm not saying Democrats are innocent of any of it. Looping
Hell
back
no.
to like Nancy Pelosi, I wrote the DNC an email and it was very professional. But when I speak to you, obviously it's going to be candid with profanities probably. But basically, I was like, take your fucking insider trader money. Okay. Go sit down. Thank you for the job that you did. Chuck Schumer, take your strong lettered or strong worded letters and sit the fuck down. Hakeem Jeffries, take your fucking Bible verses off of social media. And if you want to learn how to send a message, listen to James Tallarico. If you're
Yeah.
trying to do this whole Christian thing, like go away. You are not where we are. We are definitely in a level of a war. And your old school politics just is gone. We're
Do you,
not
do you
there,
think
and it will never be there again.
do you think we're on the verge of influx of younger people? You talked about Mondani in New York. He's just the mayor of New York, but I think that's going to send an incredible message, not just to Republicans, but to those fucking Democrats that are terrified about supporting him. Then you brought up Tallarico. He's a
Yeah,
young kid. He's 36 years old. He's very religious, but he quotes the Bible properly and not according to whatever agenda he has. He's a sharp kid. He's a smart kid. He's a religious kid. He's running for the U.S. Senate. Um, so we're seeing more and more of the young people come in. I've said this to the young people before. Look, you're going to have people my age or older voting on your destiny. Do you really want me to make a decision on whether you should have abortions or not, or have
right,
social safety nets? Because I'll be dead by the time you're struggling with it. So, time to step up
right,
and make those decisions for yourself.
right. We need younger blood. We need the Jasmine Crockett's, the AOCs. We need that, the, how do I say it? Kind of the mild white guys like PDB. I love him. I don't know if I think his communication skills and he is so intelligent. He is so on point, but we need more fire. Tellerico, I would vote for him any day, and I'm not religious at all. I'm not. But his messaging, and then my friends that are true Christians follow that messaging of love and light and equality and,
Right.
pro-choice and basically mind your own business. And if you want to devote yourself to God, that is your right, but it shouldn't be in the schools. I mean, there is a difference of church, or there is a separation of church and state for a fucking reason. I saw this AP high school teacher on TikTok. I'm surprised I'm not kicked off yet. I'm queen of CGVs for a reason. But Ryan Walters, Mr. Horn, brought in two of the Trump Bibles. Ultimately, he wanted to buy, Bibles for each classroom, brought in two for one high school. And this dude went through this Bible and it was like King James, which is the latest version of all the Bibles, I suppose. I've never really read them. I kind of want to just for the stories, but then it had the Bill of Rights, then it had the Declaration, and then it had the Constitution. But when he was going through it, it was missing specific amendments.
Right.
So it's all whitewashed bullshit. So if they're trying to implement that, then they're totally erasing our history. And I mean, it it's it's upsetting, right? It's really upsetting that they want to pretend that we're all great, that white people are the coolest, right? It's fucking lame. I get emotional
The
about that one. Sorry.
No, no, that's all right. I consider myself a Christian based on what I believe. I don't believe in organized religion because that's to me that's just clubs formed and run by humans, and we're not praying to humans or anything like that. But but they I feel sorry for the religious people that are decent religious people because Donald Trump has basically made a mockery of anybody who's truly religious. Just absolutely made a mockery of them. Somebody like Tallarico, who who does the right things and follows whatever is in the Bible to a T
Right.
correctly instead of trying to pervert it for whatever fucking agenda. And I've told my wife this the other day. I said, the more when I meet somebody, the more overtly religious they are, they seem to all end up being the most despicable motherfuckers of all. You know, they claim to be, they're blessing you and judging you because you don't do something they do. Those are the motherfuckers that are horrible. I can't wait. I wish the rapture happened yesterday because I would have
I
loved to look at the faces of those
thought it
people when
was
they finally got up
today.
there. It was today.
The rapture. Isn't that like an annual thing? It's like, talk about, give us a cleansing. Take these fucking people, take them. It'll be good. It'll be good for them too. Everyone will be happy.
That's why I wasn't worried about doing this show. We set this up a couple of days ago. You were going to come on before, and I screwed up. So now you came on today, and I'm thinking,
Yeah,
well,
no
we got the
worries.
rap, uh, we got the rapture coming. No, Christy will be here.
Yeah. If anything, I'm all about HE double toothpicks, man. I like fire, I like the heat, and I like a good party. So I'm not afraid of hell. If anything, I don't even wish Donald Trump to hell. I wish him to purgatory. I want him to relive the worst day of his life every day for the rest of his being, of anything.
Yeah, I want the worst for Donald Trump, and I'll look forward to it when he finally gets it. But um, the whole religious aspect is just muddied the waters in our politics. It's not intended to be part of our politics. But these people keep insisting, oh, yeah, it does, because the forefathers were Christian. Well, not all the forefathers were Christian. And we don't have religion in politics because if you look back in history, religion's responsible for more deaths in world history than anything fucking else. Um, One of the reasons we got out of England and came here is because of the religious involvement in Britain, but they have their little agenda and they'll twist and pervert everything that they read to make it sound like it stands for them. Like the Second Amendment, for example.
Right.
That says everybody should have as many guns as they want. Yeah, but you keep forgetting about the regulated militia and why it was even put there in the first place. It was back in the early days of the government, and they knew the government could go south, go rogue on us. And they wanted to make sure the people of the country who were supposed to have the power had the ability to fight against and overthrow a rogue nation. That's what it's about. It's not about walking down the street in fucking Wisconsin like that clown kid and shooting somebody you don't like. It had nothing to do with that.
Right. Well, I think, the Congress now, there's a couple thoughts with that with the guns. I thought for sure, and I'm actually being facetious. I'm like, okay, Charlie Kirk gets the old one too in the neck. Maybe this will cause gun reform. Maybe this will ignite gun reform. Okay, that was never brought up from Stephen Miller or Trump at the memorial. And then you have Congress saying, we need more security. And I'm thinking, ask the NRA to fund it. I'm not paying for more security. I ask for gun reform. I shoot guns. I'm not anti-gun. I
Yeah.
want people, there needs to be regulations. And you keep saying that it's not the gun that shoots itself, it's the people that shoot it or whatever, and they all have mental illness. Well, then how about you start funding? Reagan totally destroyed our mental illness
All
facilities
right.
and drug and alcohol facilities and rehab centers. Well, we pay into that. How about you start opening those up? Start doing background checks. There are very simple measures. And if you don't want to do that, then you go to the motherfuckers called the NRA that pays you to not put in regulations to support your security.
Well,
That's what
so
I think.
I saw a Democratic rep talking, and somebody stood up on the Republican side, and we need more help for mental health patients. And then the guy said, "Well, why do you vote against it every time it fucking comes up?" They
Every
talk out
time.
their ass. They talk out that they don't want to help people with mental health or any kind of health, and they don't want to take away guns. And what it all comes down to is the NRA having a bunch of money, putting a bunch of money in both Democrats and Republicans' pockets. They want no restrictions so they can sell as many guns as they can get, and they can increase their coffers with however they get paid from gun dealers and that sort of thing. And it's the same thing, we were talking about Democrats and Republicans in Israel. I found out something that I find incredibly troubling. And some people are worried about it. Some other people say you're anti-Semitic if you say this. But did you know that APAC puts money in the pockets of virtually every member of Congress, Democrats and Republicans? APAC puts money in almost everybody, not everybody. There's like a couple that don't, but everybody gets APAC money. And those people put leverage on them saying, you got to stand up for Israel. You got to stand up for Israel. Ted Cruz says, the Bible says stand up for Israel. Now, wait a minute, Ted. This Israel was formed in 1948, well after uh, uh, Jesus died. Israel back then was a much different situation than it is now. And I
Right,
don't hate the people of Israel. I don't hate the Jewish people, Israeli people. I don't hate them. The problem they have is a fucked up leader. And I come from experience here because we are good people and we have a fucked up leader. So maybe the
right.
problem isn't the people, isn't whether I'm anti Semite or not. I'm just against war criminals. Fuck me.
Well, 100% on that. The other thing is, Biden was being called Genocide Joe, and what people were not understanding, remembering, or even caring about because they just liked that tagline of Genocide Joe is that we have an allyship with Israel starting 75 fucking years ago, right? But this was when it was more of an allyship and they needed assistance and, vice versa. Bibi Netanyahu turned it into uh,
Yeah.
a war country. And the fact that there's still money going there, and we're finding out that they do have universal health care and they do have education paid for. So that's where all of this is really starting to piss off the alt-right as well. So when you're talking about the Groyper, I can't even say that, it grosses me out. When you talk about the Nick Fuentes group and the Charlie Kirk group, that's where they come from, pro-Palestine. What's happening is, why aren't people calling Trump Death Donald or something? I mean, he's talking about completely leveling out Gaza to build. Why isn't he getting these tagline, you know,
Well,
fucking names?
prior to the election, I told people, I said, what Joe Biden is doing in Israel, you don't even realize what he's doing because he's holding back. He's putting reins on Bibi Netanyahu. You do this, this is going to fucking happen. And Bibi had to be a little more compliant with that situation. I said, if Donald Trump gets elected, he'll let Bibi do whatever the fuck he wants and he will run roughshod over everything. And that's exactly what happened. Same with
Right,
Vladimir Putin.
right,
NATO and Biden kept him in check. Donald Trump gets in, do whatever the fuck you want. And that's
Right?
where the problem lies. And that's why it's not genocide Joe, it's genocide Donnie, because he's allowing this shit to happen. And anybody, I have I have I have a friend on TikTok. His name is Won't Be Silent. He's a Jewish gentleman. Great guy. He's a good friend of mine. I haven't talked to him a long time, but
Babe,
he's very fervent about the Israeli thing, and and I understand that he's Jewish and stuff, but I have a feeling he and I might not get along over this topic because don't tell me I'm an anti-Semite if I hate what Israel is doing now. It's not about the people. It's about the government and what they're doing. And to suggest there isn't genocide going on, it's just a fucking lie.
well, just like Trump, BB's keeping the war going on because he's already on the hot seat
Right.
for
Exactly.
going to jail. So he's just doing whatever he can to stay active and relevant as well. But in the meantime, he's annihilating people and children are fucking starving. It's the whole situation. The world's on fire, my friend. But as much as I want to, sometimes I get that fight or flight, and I am working on my dual citizenship. I'm still fighting. I'm
You
still
got to fight.
fighting.
You got to fight. Well, I'm going to wrap up the Rational Boomer podcast. We're about at that point. You probably have
I
shit
could
to
have
do.
talked to you for another forever.
No, yeah, we can always talk for a long period of time, but at my age, I'll tell you how I spent my first 8 hours today. Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, my wife and I go over and watch our 3 month old or 4 month old new grandson.
Yes, congrats. That's right.
Yeah, yeah, he's awesome. He's cool. Uh, his mom is working in her office, and she comes out every once in a while, gives us a break for lunch. But I love doing it. But it's like dealing with my 5 year old granddaughter. It's so fucking tiring. It's just it's not like you do anything physical. It's just drains energy, and
Kids
trying to
have,
make this kid smile all day takes its toll.
oh, for sure, for sure. Kids are awesome. I've never had them. I never wanted them, but I love them. And I'm that typical aunt, right? The coolest aunt, but I love to give them back. And I'm
Yeah.
fucking exhausted. I couldn't imagine being a single mom. I give single moms, well, any parents in general, but single moms, you're tired, you're sick, and you still got babies morning, noon, and night to look after and feed and change and do the activities, whatever it is. I couldn't do it. But good job, Grandpa.
Well, yeah. That's uh, people say, you're 65, you did all this stuff in different things in your life. What do you aspire to now? I aspire only to one thing: to be the coolest grandpa that ever fucking lived. And I think I'm doing a pretty good job of it. My granddaughter, I've told the story before. When she was younger, I give people shit. I'm sarcastic. I give people shit. Everybody in my family does it. They do it to me. I do it to them. So I did it to her one time, and um, she started crying. And I sat her down. I said, "Look, I'm just kidding. Just giving you a hard time. That's what our family does. So you're gonna have to get used to that." And she got used to it real quick because she gives me nothing but shit. If she's over here, if she's over here and she goes back and watches a movie with grandma, before she does that, she makes signs. No boys allowed. You too, grandpa. No boys allowed. One time she was telling me she had some nightmares. Uh, she had some nightmares. And I said, "Well, what were the nightmares about?" She goes, "Don't even get me started, grandpa. Don't even get me started. I can't even explain it to you." So she's always, she, but it's always with love. She'll do that, and then she'll come over and hug me and stuff. But um, having grandkids is pretty awesome. I like doing it, but it is so tiring, just
I
hard.
bet you're the best. I bet you're the best.
I'm trying. That's my goal. I don't give a shit how many followers I get on TikTok. When I'm dead and my grandkids are in their 40s, They can say, "That was pretty cool. He was pretty cool. That's all I want to do. That's all I want to accomplish." And and there's easy ways to do that. Like my granddaughter knows that every time she sees me, I have a sucker in my pocket, and I will use it as leverage. But every time I give her the sucker, she goes, "You're the best grandpa ever." I go, "Well, you just guaranteed there's going to be suckers in my pocket every time just to get that
Does
kind
she
of
have a
validation."
does she have a favorite flavor?
Yeah, she likes orange or cotton
Mm,
candy, orange or cotton candy.
cotton candy,
But
sweet, sweet.
yeah, yeah. Well, she's 5, and it's weird because she's really a cute little girl, but she's not a little girl. I mean, she's rough and tumble with everybody. She dresses like a girl. She likes pink and all that stuff. But the way she behaves, she's not the girly girl type.
Yeah, she's
Um,
smart.
we'll
Well,
be
she's
driving.
probably reincarnated. She's an old soul.
Well, we're driving in the car, and I hear a noise. I turn around, and uh, she passes gas all the time. I call her Tootie, and I go, "Junie." She goes, "Excuse me, I'm sorry." And then she just does it again.
Junie
I want
tutors.
I wanted to teach her a joke that my wife forbid me to teach her, because she does it at home too with her dad and stuff like that. And I heard this joke one time. I can't remember what it was, but this old guy was talking to another guy, and he passes gas, and he says to the guy after he passes gas, he says, "Oh, that's gonna itch when it dries."
Ew. Ew. That's not a toot. That's a start.
Yeah. So Junie. And even my 4-month-old grandson, he'll be laying there, and they poop all the time. And every time he does, he just looks at me with this weird smile, like, "I got you." And
Suckers.
I realized something when I was talking to my grandson. He can't talk. He's incoherent in the way he talks. And he's shitting his pants all the time. I go, "My God, this fucking kid could be president."
All he has to do is do this and sign his name, and
Yeah, yeah, no
he's
shit.
in.
Put some gold shit up or whatever. Well, thank you, Khristi, for coming on. Don't be away for
Yes.
so long again. I told you that last
There's
time. You
so
didn't
much
listen
more
to
to
me.
talk about, my friend. Thank you. And talking about giving shit, I was like, I hope I didn't piss him off because my text message, I'm like, oh, you finally read your fucking emails, dude.
No, no. I
Totally
give
messing, and I'm glad we got to connect.
if you give shit, you better be able to take shit. And I take shit all day, every day from my family.
Bring it.
I've t- when we're in lives and stuff, I give a lot of the people that are on the panel shit. And
I
some
love
guy
it.
goes, I felt kind of bad. I said, listen, if you're getting shit, then you're kind of part of the group. It's not a negative, it's a positive. If I
Oh,
don't
someone
talk to
got
you,
super sensitive.
yeah, a little bit. My son gets a little sensitive too about stuff. My oldest son, my youngest son, who's sarcastic as anybody, he's fine. So I have to be a little careful. I'm never careful. I just kind
Yeah.
of spew what I spew. I found out being a smartass gives you carte blanche to say virtually anything to anybody because they
At
think you're
any
joking.
time.
Yeah, they think you're joking. I think you're joking. Anyway, Khristi, thank you very much. For those
Thank you.
listening, thank you for taking the time. I hope you have a great day. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.